What's up, guys? Chuck and Moose. It's Wednesday, June 26th. We're here drafting a best ball team, I guess. We're going to do the marathon today, part of the Underdog Fantasy Occupy Fantasy Partnership. Moose, how we doing?
Pretty good. Over here on the East Coast, we are having a heat wave, so it's like 98 degrees outside right now, and not the best time to have your air conditioner broke. I'll say that. Which we had to get ours replaced yesterday, which means I got to hit some best ball. Perfect time to draft. I see the marathon is coming up, so I think we're going to do one of those.
Yeah, yeah. It's they release this at like the same time as the Eliminator and the weekly winners, I think, and it's or as the sprint anyway. And these two are just not filling. I think it's the price point though. If they were like, if the sprint was $10, I might throw in a few, and then same with marathon. If it was $10, I'd throw in more.
Yeah, it's always a weird price point. It's like when you go to deposit on some of these sites, it's like, oh, here's 20, 50, 100. And so you could do, 10 entries of 100 or 10 entries of $10 for $100. $15 is always that weird price point. I don't know. Always seems weird to me. But let's go ahead and let's kick one off here. And so far, only one person has been done. And I will say, Chuck, this is my first time doing stream best ball. I think since actually having my new computer set up, so I have a couple
Nice.
extra monitors. And I got to say, for those who have the opportunity, if you can get it up and down, like a vertical monitor, rotate your monitor up and down, even if it's just two, one regular, one up and down. They have like the best ball, uh, like draft board. So many cool things you can have on a vertical monitor.
Yeah, I've like considered how I want my setup to be. Right now, I have two monitors side by side. Then I have like a I don't know 45-inch TV on the side of my desk over here. Uh, and I thought I was going to be able to like put a bunch of different drafts up, do a couple drafts on that screen, but I can't do anything on that screen because the resolution is not great. But what I really want is one of those like 47-inch wide screens, and then I want to put, like
Uh,
you said, like a vertical monitor up right next to it, and that's my ideal setup. Maybe next season.
Yeah, so it's two regular monitors for me. I got them on monitor arms, so if I need to move them closer, back and forth, do whatever. And then my vertical monitor, I actually have it split to be two, so I have like chats split in half. And then if I want to like increase it to go to like I want to see more of this window or more of that window, I can just click and drag. So uh, really resourceful. I like it, and yeah, I mean I'm excited. And hopefully the table holds all the weight, it does not crash in the middle of the night. That would be terrible.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty important thing to make sure of.
Yeah, definitely. But let's get talking about this draft here. While we're still waiting for people, completely different. There's no as you alluded to, this is just regular season, no playoffs, no nothing like that. So how does that change your strategy at all? Does it or does it? I'll the question.
So I've been doing a lot of drafts over on Drafters, and their format is just 100% regular season. The only difference is over there is 20 rounds and full PPR. Here it's half PPR, and it's still just the 18 rounds. But it's like players like Devin A Chain is probably a good. I don't know if he's a good example because there's two sides of it. I think that A Chain. I'm pretty sure his ADP is higher in regular best ball because of the fact like if he's on your roster in the playoffs, you feel pretty good about
Mhm.
the chances of a spike week, right? Whereas in regular season, you can get those spike weeks in any other week and get the full benefit of it. Like, what if the spike
Yeah.
weeks come every week but the playoff weeks? Like you advance in regular best ball, but if he's dead in the playoff weeks, you're not competing for anything. Whereas, he goes off weeks 1 through 14 and then gets injured, or something, God forbid, and he is a zero in the playoffs, but you got the full benefit from the regular season. So there's kind of two sides of it where I kind of devalue guys who I only see as spike game guys, but again, like you get the benefit of capturing their spike weeks all season long rather than just needing it to come in these specific weeks. So it probably evens out a little bit.
Yeah, my first thought when I saw the drop and I started to mess around with it was, if this person can have a spike week or more than one spike week, I'm giving him a bump. And if
Mhm.
they have, if they're more of a floor player, downgrading them, because if I just get a bunch of floors throughout the season, is that really going to get me first place in front of everyone? No. So let's. I know you always talk about go for first, go for bust, whatever. But I think it's even more important here to find players and tell a story that, yeah, if each week I can have a spike week from one of my players, one of my core players, you're doing multiple lineups, I think that would be the way to go. So I think someone like Achan, I would probably bump him up a little bit, knowing that he has a better chance at multiple spike weeks, regardless of what week it is, compared to other running backs in his ADP. So I think I would bump him up a little bit.
Another thing I'm thinking about too is like zero RB is less powerful in this format because,
Yeah,
in playoff formats, if you get the Ty Chandler, Marshawn Lloyd starting in week 15, 16, 17, like you're through the roof. But if they're not starting till week 15 in this regular scoring format, then it really hurts your team if you don't have strong running backs to give those points. And so I kind of like a little bit more balanced approach at that.
yeah. I would say I think the last time I was on here on stream, we did. I can't remember if it was 4 or 5 wide receivers in a row with me and Waleed. I don't think you can do a strategy like that here. You need to at least have one good floor from each position. I think.
Yeah, and so that's a question: like, are like the onesie positions a little bit more valuable? Guys like Josh Allen, Mark Andrews, Travis Kelsey. Should we be valuing those guys more versus their peers compared to regular best ball?
I think for tight end, yes, but for quarterbacks, I have it filtered here. I think if you take a look at all these top, five, let's say these top four: Allen Hurts, Jackson, Mahomes. They're in the top. The only four quarterbacks with ADP under 50. Realistically, I think they can all get there. They're not like one is just like significantly better for scoring that can have spike weeks. Like all four of these can have incredible spike weeks multiple times in a season. So I wouldn't necessarily put one above the other, but I think just like as a group, the top tier of players gravitate up just a little bit more.
I like that. I like that. Because one thing I'm thinking about with the elite tight ends, a lot of it for me is because it's really easy to just piece together 3, 4 tight ends at the end of a draft and just hope one of them
Yeah,
catches a touchdown every week. But I like having the George Kittles and or the Sam Laporta just because in the playoffs, if they put up 25 points, like that's extremely, extremely valuable.
yeah.
Whereas I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to think about their value as an advanced piece versus their value as like the single week spike week. But it's kind of similar to what we were just saying with Devin A. Chain.
Yeah. And I think like most positions have groups of these things. So it's not like you have to completely overreach for one specific person. And so like let's see, I'm trying to pull up. Like Achan, yeah, I think just like looking back at him, he's got Barkley, Henry, Kyron kind of all in that same group. If you don't I wouldn't necessarily reach just using that for example. I like Achan way more than those other plays, so I could reach for him. But in a situation like that, where it's like, oh, I'm not necessarily favoring one person over the other, you could just reach for one of them. And if you know, oh, there's only one player left, they're all going early, well, I need to take someone from this tier of group of players. Does that make sense? Did I word that right?
I think so.
Okay, perfect.
Just like
And
take the player before the tier break.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if we think like, I think going back to the quarterback situation, I talked about these four quarterbacks under 50 ADP. If 20 like ADP of 22 comes by and three of them are gone, there's only one left. Well, we know that this tier of quarterbacks we value more than everyone else. Let's just take one at 22, 24 because everyone else already took them. We need something.
Okay, nice. Um, yeah, that's another thing too. I think I have been valuing elite quarterbacks a little bit more in this format, which I'm not sure if that makes sense. Might be backwards, but that's definitely something I'm paying attention to.
Yeah, I think just I don't know. I go back and forth, and then I end up just drafting Joe Burrow on stream every single time we're on here. Somehow, I think I'm 3-0 on that. So let's hopefully break the streak. Maybe we can get a good thing where I can get Hurts or Mahomes or something like that. But I will say one other thing that I'm thinking about is correlation. We talk about correlation a lot, but I feel like in a format like this, you don't want to go too heavy on correlation. We're not trying to hope that Philadelphia as a team scores great in the playoff weeks, and if we draft too many of them, they're just going to all cannibalize against each other.
What I will say on that is for the regular season advance rates on Underdog specifically, I don't know about last season, but the season before, every single combination of quarterback, running back, receiver, if you had those three on a team, their advance rates it was very good for advance rates across the board.
Mm,
And so
okay.
like what you just said about being in on like Philadelphia for the playoff week because you think they're going to be a good offense. Well, I think they're going to be a good offense the whole season. They're going to score
Yeah.
more touchdowns, even though uh, I guess the touchdown share of each player is going to be lower. They're just going to score more that it kind of evens it out and makes it not matter.
That's true, I guess. Yeah. I'm just thinking of Hurts and, you know, someone who like quarterback with high rushing upside. Do I really want to take their running back this early on when there's other people around him in that same tier? So a lot of questions to ask, and maybe we'll get some answers once 6 more people join the chat. So if you're watching this, you want to draft against us, go ahead and fire up one of those drafts. Maybe be one of those last 6 people in.
So one of the things that Brian and I were talking about on the previous stream was a lot about portfolio management and combinations of guys. So I think that we want to be a lot more conscious of the combos we're getting here, because and if we're considering the combos that the whole field is getting to, like last year's CD Lamb and Amon Ra was a very common round one, round two combo.
Yeah.
But then we get to the finals, and there's only so many teams that have it. We're only competing with those teams that make it to the finals with that combo. Whereas in this contest, we're competing with every single other team that has the same round one, round two combo as you. And so,
Yeah.
do you think that we should be like more willing to reach by ADP just to get combos that are uncommon?
Let me think. Probably. My first guess is probably. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I would say. I mean, I've always been I always say that, and then I really have trouble keeping track of my exposures in a draft. Um, in the sense of, oh, someone came up to me, I'm drafting, I don't know, let's just say Marvin Harrison. I don't, off the top of my head, I'm probably not knowing exactly what my first round exposures are or other exposures laid down the road. On slow drafts, on fast drafts, I mean, on fast drafts, I can't do that. On slow drafts, I know that pretty well. You have significantly more time to think about your pick and all that stuff. So for this, I think I think reaching is okay. Just keep a mental block of, if you're doing, a handful of them, I probably wouldn't worry about it. If your 3 teams have CD Lamb and some other person, then it's not too much. But if you're doing 50, 100, maxing out things, then I do think you need to be wary. You can't have 75% of a combo that's just random, no correlation.
Okay, nice. I feel pretty much the same way.
Nice.
Yeah. And so I was going through. I didn't see the BBM regular season scoring, but I saw one of the other sites their regular season scoring, and it's just it's basically the same thing. And a lot of the teams in the top 10 they just had dead roster spots. Maybe they drafted Jamal Williams or Mike Williams or something, and even with those dead roster spots, and some of them like had disgusting running back rooms, right? Maybe they had one good running back and 5-0 RB guys, and 2 of them got hurt. But it didn't matter because 2 of the 0 RB guys were Devin A. Chain and Kyron Williams or something like
Yeah.
that. And so just like Kyron was very common on those teams, obviously. Like he was a 20th round pick going, he finishes the RB3, top 5 running back, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's kind of something to negate those chalk combos, right? Like if you had CD Lamb and Amon Ra, but your running back's bricked versus the team that has Kyron, like that
Yeah.
team with Kyron outscored you by a couple hundred maybe over the regular season.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so that's something to keep in mind too, late round picks and early round picks.
Yeah, that's also true too. Yeah, never thought about it from that way. We have a question in here from Mr. Grapefruit. He says, "Do you guys like elite tight end builds like McBride and Ingram, for example?"
Yeah.
I think if you can draft, I think at that point you don't draft another tight end. You just stick with that core there. Doesn't really make sense to draft too many tight ends after that. So I like it. Yeah, I can definitely go with that. Yeah.
Oh, does that mean draft both of those guys on the same team?
That's what I took it as.
Oh, okay. If that's the case, I'm not doing that as much. And if I do, I'm definitely stopping at 2. I really only do it if the second guy falls past ADP, and I think it's an uncommon combo, or there's really no one else in that range I want to pick.
Okay. So kind of taking it as, oh, it just felt it just was handed to me. I have to take it, as opposed to actually trying to get it.
Yeah, because what I was just saying with the like elite tight ends for that that single game spike week potential in the playoffs, like that's pretty much the situation I would want it for. George Kittle scores 25 in week 15. Evan Engram puts up 22 in week 16, and now I have both of
Yeah,
them available for week 17.
that makes sense. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. What about for comp? What about for this contest specifically, where it's just regular season? Same thing, or
I feel like I'd be less interested in double elite tight end. Um, I'm not sure though, because the thing is, I do focus a little bit more on getting early running back, and so I probably just don't have that many opportunities to grab that second elite tight end, unless it's like a situation like I just said, where George Kittle falls 10 past ADP, even
yeah,
though I already have Kelsey or Andrews, and I just can't pass him up.
yeah. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Something like this where you really need a core of everything. It's hard to get multiple elite guys in any position. Uh, I get it. Yeah. So let's see here. We still got four more people left. Come on, viewers, you got this. Come on, underdog. You can fill four more people.
This is going to be our longest stream yet, guys. So buckle up for all the good info.
Exactly. Yeah. Get some
And
water.
Mr. Grapefruit saying that's fair. Just gauging how the tight end pool seems this year, comfortable all the way down to Fryermuth or Musgrave as the last dish effort. Yeah, if I get to like that Schultz Komet range and I don't have a tight end yet, I'm pretty comfortable taking those guys as my tight end one. And then, like if it's 20 rounds, I'm usually grabbing four tight ends at that point, sneaking in like Isaiah Likely or Taysom Hill if I can on the sites where he's a tight end. Uh, and like I have builds where I'll have two of those guys like Schultz and Fryermuth or Komet and Fryermuth, and those feel pretty good. And I'm usually still tacking on a third tight end at the end.
Okay. I think most of my. I'm thinking I don't actually have my number of builds handy, but I think most of mine are leaning against the elite tight ends
Mhm.
and BBMs and the other ones.
Okay.
So yeah, it's either one elite tight end and like two or three really trash ones, or two or three mid range and maybe one trash one.
So you said you're not really leaning into the or you're not getting to the elite tight ends. Is it because you more like the players going around there, or because you're that's like a conscious decision to kind of fade elite tight end?
I always go back and forth on this every offseason where it's like, are these elite tight ends really that good? Yes, they are, and but then it's like, how much better are they versus other tight ends versus the other people around them? And so it's like, yeah, Kelsey's probably going to put up like 20, 25 a game, but could that also happen in best ball between three other trash tight ends if we get touchdown here, touchdown there, plus whatever I get from the other person around him? So I usually kind of just gauge it that it's really hard to justify multiple elite tight ends. Maybe just getting one make one makes sense. Yeah, they're really good for a reason. ADP's there for a reason. It just seems, yeah, yeah, mainly just the people around them.
I get you. What? Oh, I had a thought. I kind of lost it.
I was rambling too long. My bad.
No, you're good. You're good. Um, oh, so back to like the top 10 from last year, and it's tough to really take too much from this because the elite tight ends failed really hard.
Yeah,
But like the winning tight ends on these teams were I think like the top team was actually kind of weak at tight end. Maybe Dalton Schultz was their top, and they didn't have any of like the breakouts. But Sam Laporta and Trey McBride and Taysom Hill were the most common tight ends, and they all went pretty late. And that's something about taking that wide receiver over Travis Kelsey, and then not necessarily hoping Kelsey fails, but just if you can hit on that Ben Sinnott or Brock Bowers late tight end
yeah,
breakout, like it just gives you such a good build. I guess you have the elite receivers, and then you have the tight end that you would want towards the end of the draft.
yeah, exactly. Like I have the ADP scrolled down a little bit here. Like looking at where Sam Laporta, Travis Kelsey are right now, you have the other three elite quarterbacks we talked about, multiple wide receivers that can put up a bunch of points. Like I would feel way more comfortable, and I can justify it a lot easier that two of these people out, like Josh Allen, Zay Flowers, for example, justify them getting more points for the regular season than like wasting a pick on that for a second elite tight end. And it just seems kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, you've seen. I mean, with how popular best ball is getting, I'm sure you've seen a lot of the weird builds people are posting on Twitter.
Yeah, it yeah, and I actually have probably the worst best take on those two anyway.
The worst best take.
Yeah, and I like it's a terrible take, but I think it's the best take is the fact that at the end of the day, best ball should be fun, exciting, and if you're doing just a couple entries, build however you want to build. I really don't care. If you're having fun with it and you can kind of tell a story, sure. And then on the flip side, if you're entering, 300, 400 best ball drafts, you got to get weird somehow. You can't just keep drafting the same 15, 20 people. So people who are doing these like crazy takes and super weird builds, I love it. We don't,
Okay.
and anything can happen in best ball. So uh, is it probably negative EV? Probably, but a lot of negative EV stuff hits sometimes. So I think the excitement part of it overrules this $15 that a person put in needs to be maximized EV. So like just have fun with it, tell a story. As long as you're not drafting like 8 quarterbacks, but like if you can justify why you're picking players, it should work.
I like that, and that's something I need to work on because for me, I feel like I'm such a min maxer that if I can do something to increase my EV by one, like I don't draft on my phone if I'm not on my computer because I'm so reliant on seeing the
Yeah.
uh, the playoff weeks, and it's like, dude, it's okay to just draft on your phone sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it goes to like I'll say this exact like the same thing that happened last year during the playoffs, which I think gets brought up every time I'm on stream. Where my goal was just get as many players from a team, regardless of how weird it was. So I was taking for the playoff best ball people whose ADP were in like round 8. I was taking them 2 overall because like I wanted to get Green Bay players in case if Green Bay somehow made it to the Super Bowl. Is it dumb? In negative EV, absolutely. But on the negative EV chance that Green Bay gets somewhere, I'm looking pretty awesome, and it's fun to root for a team like that. So, uh, was that 90% of my lineups? No, it was maybe one or two. So I was able to justify it by saying all my other 40 lineups are actually made well, but these little ones that could actually win just have a different path that's probably not the best path, but still a path, and I justified it, and it was fun to do.
I mean, like drafting is a fun part, right? I love
Yeah,
drafting, and so it's got to be fun. If it's not fun anymore, then it's just work, and work that we're
yeah.
not really getting paid for unless we win.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, now if I was doing the $1,000 best ball or 500 whatever, the big ones, yeah, I don't care. I don't care if I'm not having fun. I'm playing those things
Yeah.
positively EV. So, but the $15 ones or $5, $10 ones that they have makes sense.
Well, that's one thing that I really love about weekly winners. I can kind of just do whatever I want. Like I can
Mhm.
reach an ADP and it does not matter. I can draft whatever weird builds I want and it just doesn't matter. If that team dies, that team dies. I'm going to have,
Yeah,
100 more.
exactly. Yeah, and you can kind of, with weekly winners there. For those who are watching and don't know, that's where you just play for each week. There's no playoffs. Just whoever gets the most in that one week can work. So you can have a bunch of crazy builds that if you just tell a story that like, hey, week 14, this team I'm drafting for like this crazy spike week in week 14 out of one of my 200 drafts. That's a story and that works. Then you're looking really excited for week 14. So kind of crazy how many different ways you can build for the different type of contests the Underdog has. So it's pretty fun.
Well, I'll just say like one of my favorite things that you just made me think about is like I'm sure you're aware that my quarterback exposures are pretty interesting
Yeah.
across the board. And in weekly winners, what I really love is drafting 5 or 6 receivers in a row, or maybe mixing one running back. Just maybe 5 running backs, 6 receivers, 2 or 3 tight ends, depending, and then just grabbing as many quarterbacks like the Justin Fields, the Daniel Jones type. quarterbacks where their season long outlook probably isn't great, but if they play in, well, Daniel Jones should start week 1, and then Justin Fields, if he just starts any amount of games, like those teams should be live that week.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's one of those things where it's like when you're in the final round, there's so many players who are going to go undrafted completely that if you just have a gut feeling this early on, it's just like, okay, I really think this guy's going to get a couple snaps. He's going to get at least a couple routes run, whatever. And he's explosive. Whatever story you tell to justify yourself. If you draft him, 1 out of 100 times, you get a couple percentage of him. And then he does go off. That team is looking nice. So I mentioned before that like once you start getting into the double-digit rounds, that's when it really starts to be fun for me because then you can just start drafting players that are just kind of however you need your build to be. Where maybe I'm wrong on this, Chuck, but it's like the first 1 through 9 rounds, you kind of have to draft pretty optimally. You can reach a little bit here and there, but the ADPs are pretty solid. Once you get into rounds 10, 10, 15, whatever, anything goes for me. And I just need to figure out what a piece is missing from this roster, fill it with people that I like, that could be explosive or whatever you want to tell yourself, and just go from there.
That's one thing that I think I got better at this year is being able to distance myself from ADP once it gets to a certain point in the draft. Like, just get your guy. It doesn't matter at this point. A lot of the late ADPs are kind of guessing. Like, I'm thinking specifically the rookie range, like Jalen Polk, Ricky Pearsall, Jermaine Burton. Like, I've been kind of hesitant to click on them, or I was at first. I'm clicking on them more recently. But like, I just wasn't taking them because I was taking everyone else around them. But I can just reach for them around ahead because this is such a tough range to draft in. Like, I'm really looking forward to August when we have a little bit more clarity on depth charts, and I'm sure that this ADP range is going to change quite a bit by then.
Absolutely nothing worse. You're like, oh yeah, I was really high on so and so, and his ADP was like 180, and then you check now it's like 280. Now it's just never drafted, or the other way around where it feels great when you're drafting someone round 18, and now they're drafting round 15, 14 because training camp, whatever. It's like, oh yeah, this is nice. It's a nice feeling. So fun for that. And we had 2 people. We were waiting for 2 people.
So
Then they
close.
dropped off. We were so close. If everyone just stays in the draft, we'll be good.
You know what? I just realized. I don't think it would have mattered. We were still 2 away the whole time, right?
Yeah.
I think I can enter this, and we can draft in the same room and not really affect each other's EV too much compared to like Best Ball Mania, we're only 2 advanced. Like, unless we take each other's players,
Will the uh, will the
doesn't
underdog
matter as
people get
much.
mad at us?
No. I drafted so many with Chris last season, and I see a bunch of guys drafting on stream together. It should be fine.
Okay. Okay. And while we're waiting, I will say that if you are new to Underdog, you want to go ahead and check it out. As you see on the screen down below, you can 2x your first deposit with promo code Occupy2. They also have not just drafts, but they have champions. They have the pick'em pools where over unders, more or less. Overall, fantastic platform. And Chuck, you mentioned you did drafters, you've done DraftKings and stuff as well. For me, I think Underdog, and it's not because we're on an Underdog show, the Underdog UI is just the best out there by far. Just absolutely love drafting on it.
Yeah, I will say, like, I think the players are definitely worse on the other sites, but I'm
Yeah.
still going to have the majority of my volume on Underdog, just like I did last year.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I see you joined. Thank you, Chuck. And for the Underdog people, please do not get mad at us.
I think that was the record for longest time to start a draft. Reminds me of my NBA streams.
I know 32 minutes, 30 minutes. That's not good. But
We,
hey, maybe the people watching will go ahead and join it once they watch the replay and stuff.
I hope they listen to our conversation in the in the beginning before the draft starts. We'll just put in a bookmark. You can click on draft starts here.
Yeah, if you made it this far in the video where the draft starts, I applaud you. You should at least like the video that you made it this through.
We got Zone Chuba in here. Yes, lads, let's go. Are you in here? Is that you, Chupa 77? We had a I don't know if you saw the stream I was on with Brian, but we drafted a puppy, and we had someone in the chat that was in the draft with us, and like that one in particular was a little bit more crazy just because of how fast the puppies were firing, and
Yeah.
like my name isn't associated with Occupy at all, and so he just saw a stream going on YouTube and clicked on it, and he happened to be in it. I thought that was super cool.
Oh, that is pretty neat. Yeah, that's awesome. Um,
Zone is Big Z on Underdog. Nice.
okay. Nice. So I got 8, you got 9, which means you tell me who you're thinking about picking, and I will snipe them every time.
Well, I have 33% AJ Brown in this contest out of 6 drafts, so
Okay.
I mean, I'll probably take him if he's there at 9. Do you have any thoughts on like Bijan Brees Hall versus AJ Brown Puka in this contest?
I think for me, I would have somewhat. I'm trying to get somewhat equal exposure on that. Maybe a little bit less on Brees Hall, but yeah, Bijan, AJ Brown, any of those people, I think anything kind of goes. Whereas in the best ball manias, I'm taking a lot less of them, going a lot more zero RB at the start. But I think for this, you need some sort of running back, one of these good ones at the beginning. So one falls, maybe I'll take it, maybe not. Let's see.
Yeah, like I've mentioned this before, and other than Jamar Chase, I find myself basically just clicking on everyone at ADP in the first round.
Yeah, let's do it.
You got
Now, looking at the ADP of CMC, like 1.1, in a format like this where we both agree that you need a
a
core, are you passing them up at 1?
dude, like, so the first few streams I did with Chris on stream, I had not had a single first overall pick. So I had no CMC, and I had CD
Okay.
Lamb ranked as my number one. And up to like now, I've had a bunch of number one picks, and I have never passed up on CMC. So I don't, I in my head, I'm like, yeah, we'll start taking CD Lamb at number one a little bit later, but it's really tough. And yeah, like 1.1, I pretty much agree with that. He should be the number one pick here.
Especially where like you don't want to be so overexposed on guys early on round 1, whereas it's so rare that he's falling to 2 that if you get 1, you pretty much have to take him just to even out your exposures of him. Whereas like let's say like where you're in 9, AJ Brown most of the time is going to fall to 9. Sometimes he won't, sometimes he will, but more than likely you're going to be able to get him more often past ADP than you can at CMC at 2. So I think you have to take him.
Dude, in one of the puppy twos, I got CMC at pick 3, and
Oh my
I
gosh.
almost fell out of my chair, dude. And then CD Lamb at pick 5. That was like I don't
Wow.
even think I've seen him fall to 4 before. But I was thrilled. It's so fun when you're the one in the position to take advantage of that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
We got an interesting one here from the 12 spot, Buffalo Jalen with Marvin Harrison and Josh Allen as his first 2 picks.
Interesting. Interesting.
I mean, Josh Allen is good, and I don't know. It feels probably wouldn't have been there at 36 in this format, though, right?
Probably not. I would think no.
It's ADP's 32.
Yeah.
It's just my problem with it is so now you're directly competing with the teams that got a first round pick. You know, say it's Marvin Harrison, but they got maybe Garrett Wilson here, and then they got Josh Allen in the third round.
Yeah.
So it's not a big deal. It's like you're trading the first pick of the second round for the last pick of the third round, but maybe it is a big deal. I don't know
It
what to
really all
do
depends.
here except take Brandon Ayuk, Nico Collins. I'll take Nico Collins this time. I have trouble with Olave. I still like Devontae. It's like Devontae and Brandon Ayuk are the guys that I'm mostly clicking on. Got to get some Nico in there.
I think this is actually the first draft that I drafted 2 running backs back to back, round 1, round 2,
Nice.
and so I think like my strategy here is I don't really see myself drafting another like from this somewhat tier. So we gotta get something going for the other positions. We can't have a strong running back core and just pray that 1 out of 6 wide receivers make it like we can in best ball. So really gets you thinking.
I've seen some people posting like running back heavy builds on Twitter. I think Chris drafted one on stream too. He took 3 straight running backs, and maybe he tacked on a fourth at the end. I think I did a 4 running back build with Brian last time. So that's fun. But I mean, if there was a tournament to do it, and this is the format that I think it's stronger here.
I know I try and get them done during lunch sometimes, but if they don't if it take a while to fill, do whatever, I sometimes have to get on a phone call, meeting, whatever I have to do. So there's been some times where like a couple rounds to go, I have to just turn on autopilot, hope my rankings work out. There was one where I have a 6 running back build, and thank you Auto Draft for drafting like 3 straight running backs.
Were you able to salvage it?
Yeah, I salvaged it. Yeah, it was just the last I think 4 rounds I had to doing that, but yeah, it was pretty good.
Just hit on 3 late round receivers and you're good.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to say.
I have so many builds where I'm not taking too much JT or Saquon, but I'll have Brees Hall or Bijan, and then I'll hit
Okay.
Devin A Chain, or like when he falls, I'm gonna take him every time A Chain when he falls to this range, and a lot of Kyron Williams, which is kind of uncomfortable because I feel really weak at receiver. But at this point, it's like Kyron Williams or Zay Flowers, and I don't think it's particularly close.
Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, it's crazy that Achan's falling, what, 3 spots passes ADP on this. So I imagine I mean, there's no way he comes back to us at 32, 33. Nuts.
Imagine. I feel like Kyron's ADP is moving back up too. I think it's slightly higher here than in regular best ball though, which would make sense. Same with Derrick Henry.
Yeah. Now I know we talked about during the playoffs for that you want to try and stack for playoffs. Now, are you trying to? Are you worrying about any reverse correlation, stacking, anything like that with this, or are you just kind of just building a team?
Um, I don't know. It's kind of like if two guys are close. Like this is something I talked about with Brian too. That Legendary Upside's new tool. I don't even remember what it was called, but the like real time assistance thing. It really likes drafting a second receiver. Like, for example, I have Christian Kirk. It really likes Brian Thomas. And, Trevor Lawrence is 40 picks away, so I don't even have Trevor Lawrence yet. But it really likes getting 2 guys from the same team for that same team correlation. And I think that relates to what I was talking about with quarterback, running back, wide receiver combos all had positive advance rates or had a
Okay.
positive expectation on advance rates. And so I think I do want to target correlation, like single team correlation a little bit more because other correlation it's just so hard.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I agree. It's tough. So
You didn't go for the triple running back start.
I was thinking about it, man. I couldn't justify it. I couldn't justify it. I was stuck between that. I'll wait till after your pick before saying something else.
I'm gonna take Kyron here and hope that Jalen Hurts makes it back to me.
So I was going to say that I was thinking about Hertz in the sense that you know going heavy on the running back. We're kind of going against Philly running back with this team, but I don't have a Philly wide receiver to pair it up with, so didn't really truly make sense to me on here. Um, I am still targeting one of those elite quarterbacks just to even out the core. But I figure Pittman falling there with a bit of team correlation can always get a second quarterback later on.
So one thing about those elite quarterbacks, like you consider Jalen Hurts, you would have taken Josh Allen if he was there, or you still would have went with receiver.
I probably would have went. See, I don't know if Josh. I mean, I think the fact that there's still 3. I don't think that the 3 remaining elite quarterbacks will go before it comes back to me. So I'll take whichever one falls,
Okay.
assuming the 3 people in front of me don't take them. But
Okay.
yeah, if a second one, say if Hurts or Mahomes went before me, before that pick, and there was only 2 left, I probably would have taken one of them then.
Okay. The reason that I ask is because I'm in a lot of situations where, like right now, I have Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts available to pick from. But let's say I didn't have AJ Brown. Like, I find myself clicking on Josh Allen almost every time where I'm not really taking Jalen Hurts, but like Josh Allen, which I'm okay naked, but I know I can always get one of his pass catchers later in the draft, pretty much no matter what.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so that worked out. We got Jalen Hurts. Really pains me to not get Tank Dell here, but we do have Nico Collins, so it's okay.
There we go. And then, so don't take Lamar, who's got the same bye week as 75% of your players so far. So let's go Mahomes.
Nice. Nice. And then So in the marathon format, how does a player like Rashi Rice's impending probable possible suspension, like how's that affecting how you're looking at him in this format versus the regular playoff format?
I don't think you can draft him in this format. Same thing like
Really?
with week. I mean, assuming best case scenario, and he's 6 weeks, 4 weeks suspended. I mean, what's his ADP in this one? Is it the same? 81. I mean, that's
I think he just moved up to 71 in regular best ball, if I'm not mistaken.
okay. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough. Looking at the players around him, are they
Hmm.
all going to play? I guess are they all going to play the same number of like they're going to obviously play more games than him, assuming he gets suspended anything. But then it raises the question, if he falls too far down, you know, I think if you go wide receiver early, if you have two wide receivers and one running back here, I think you can. I think you could risk it in the sense that like he can put up points and just I need the rest of the team just to hold on for dear life. I don't know.
Okay.
It's actually the more I say that, I don't think he. That's tough. What do you think?
I'm all in on him. Yeah, even in this
Really?
format. Yeah, over on drafters, he's one of my highest. I didn't know that, but he's one of my higher drafted receivers, and he goes earlier over there, which is probably more disgusting. Like he goes in the 60s over there, at least on the marathon. He's at pick 81.6.
Oh
But
wow.
my reasoning is so well, the main thing is that I'm hoping his suspension is 4 weeks, rather than
Yeah.
6 or 8, whatever. Uh, but then it's like, so he misses the first 4 weeks. And I mean, his spike games were pretty good last year, 20 plus in his good weeks. We're not
Yeah.
missing out on 20 plus points for 4 weeks. If we have another receiver who can put up 15, we might only be missing out on a couple points, or we might not be missing out on any points that week.
Yeah.
And since I'm usually pretty strong at receiver, I usually feel like I can withstand a few weeks without Rashi Rice. And it's just, if he comes back towards the end of the season, or not towards the end of the season, but just comes back after the season starts, it's going to feel so strong for the rest of the season.
Here's my tinfoil hat theory: is that Chiefs have week 6 bye, one of the earlier ones. He gets suspended to the bye week and he's out, 6 weeks, and he
Mhm.
really only misses 5 games. I think that's kind of the path that I lean on. So if that's the case, he's
Okay.
got to miss the first 5 games. You still all in on him?
At this price, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was going around pick 20 before any of the suspension stuff came up, and it's like, is 60 picks in ADP worth missing 5 games? I think it is.
Okay.
But the thing is, like, it's definitely a bigger question in this format, because in the playoff format, he's there for weeks 15, 16, 17. So that's
Oh
the
yeah.
important part. And so it's definitely something else to consider here. But like I said, I'm still drafting him a ton in this format.
I think if you have other Chiefs players, I think yeah, like I have Mahomes here, and if Rashi Rice falls to me, and I have another, as long as he's not like part of my core or whatnot, sure, I think that works. Shoot, you're almost kind of. I can't tell. Are you talking him? Are you talking me into it because you really don't want me? You really don't want me to draft him? I don't know.
I
You're trying to play
mean,
some mind games here.
well, I was going to say, where's Hollywood Brown? I don't know if you're in on Xavier Worthy, but I would be hoping Rashi Rice fell to 80 in your spot just to have the pair with Mahomes.
Yeah. So I was thinking Worthy. However, I'm going Kyle Pitts here, trying to even out something. I know I already got Bijan, so got the little double Atlanta Indy mini stack going on there. Kind of evens out. I got somewhat decent players at each position now. That that's going to be my floor for the weeks going forward for the regular season. That
Nice.
yeah. So going forward, then I can take a little bit more stance on maybe I want to have more wide receivers, only two quarterbacks, two tight, two three times, whatever. Or at least I got my core. They're correlated. That works. So go Indy and Atlanta.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing in this format to have your most of your starting lineup drafted before you're going into your fifth, sixth receiver.
Yeah, exactly.
I was surprised you let me have Terry McLaurin. I thought you were going to scoop him up. I was pretty excited.
I know. I was thinking that, but then it's like, yeah. I mean, I'm high on him. I'm really high on him this season. It's just I saw that Pitts fell. He correlates with Bijan. I think that was a good little pick for me there.
Yeah, I forced myself to take a little bit more Pitts recently. It's hard though because it's like I just want to take George Kittle after that, but I know I need to even it out a little bit.
Yeah, I could be. I could shout out Mr. Grapefruit. I could take Evan Ingram here on 2 picks.
Hmm. Where's Evan Ingram going? ADP 74.
Yeah.
It's not bad. I feel like him and Joku are a little too far apart. Far apart. And Joku's at pick 100. One of those prices is wrong.
One of them are, yeah.
Nice. Nice pick, Fleece Masterpiece. That's a good one. I really wanted Chris Godwin here for this team. I feel pretty good when I have like I took an elite running back and an elite quarterback, but I still feel like I have 4 pretty good receivers. Feel pretty good about
Yeah.
this team.
And Worthy fell for me too, so
Let's
got
take it. Yep.
there we go. A little mini KC stack there.
I guess we'll sweat Rashi Rice coming back to you and see what you do.
Yeah, that that would be kind of nuts. Yeah,
Let's say that you missed on Worthy, you missed on Rashi Rice, because I've been in this position a few times. I think it has a little to do with why I'm like not drafting Mahomes as much. Because even if I'm like drafting in a spot where I can plan to reach for one of those guys a couple picks ahead of ADP, they just get scooped up. And so if you miss on Worthy and Rashi Rice, what are you doing? Are you going to add on like Justin Watson or how are you going to handle it?
I mean their ADP is going pretty much undrafted, so I don't mind taking a rogue last double digit pick on one of those players that. Yeah, the other ones around them are probably going to just be all dart throws as well. So I might as well take a dart throw that is somewhat correlated. But I feel like with someone like Mahomes, he's got so many targets to spread out that the elite quarterbacks doesn't with a little bit of rushing upside. It's not the worst thing in the world to have a naked Mahomes. So
Okay,
at that
nice.
point, it's just like all right, well, this is the thing that I'm going to go with. I'm just going to have a completely even stronger core of, let's say I'm going to go more running backs, more wide receivers, whatever. Maybe just have a little bit less, and you have to have, if you're going to have an elite quarterback. I don't think you can draft more than two. So I think you're going to have that, and then it's just pray that everyone else around them can just hold on.
I mean, I guess it's kind of similar to like the double elite tight end, but do you think there's any more merit to the double elite quarterback in this format versus the regular format?
There probably is. I'm trying to think. Like there probably is. I feel like that it would. Hmm.
I,
No, I'm actually changing my answer. No, I don't think that it's two elite quarterbacks. I think they're just going to cannibalize so much that the other players around it, you're gonna have to need other good players as well. So you're like getting rid of Pittman or JT, whoever you're going to substitute them with. In this case, they have a chance of putting up the same type of floor as they are.
Mhm.
Well, eat money took my guy. Yeah, so I think it's going to be. I don't think that you can do that. I think that's. I don't think that's good.
Okay.
So let's see here. Don't like Rashi. I'm not. I'm skipping out on him, so I'm going to go with my boy Najee Harris. Let's do that.
Okay. Yeah, I like Najee. Um, well, don't mind if I do. You'll never guess who I'm about to pick here. Yeah, I'm just gonna go for it. That was one of those like strong is weak and weak is strong. I was trying to talk you into him so that you wouldn't pick him, so that he was there for me.
There we go. I don't know. It's kind of one of those things, right? Like we want our lineup to tell a story, and if your thought is Rashi Rice is going to be. I'm going heavy on other KC players because I think Rashi Rice isn't going to is going to be suspended for
Mhm.
more games
Mhm.
than normal. Then I'm going to be down on him. Then
Right.
maybe you have another lineup where it's just like, okay, maybe he does come back early, and I don't take anyone else. So for most of my lineups, I am telling the story of that Rashi Rice is going to be out more than what people think. So yeah.
Okay. And whichever way, for any of we have a lot of viewers right now, but whichever way you're leaning is fine. Just you got to lean into it, whatever you believe.
Oh
It
yeah,
sounds like me and Moose are on a little bit of different sides, but we both understand how we're playing that player take.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it can't just be like I'm just going to draft my ADP because I just feel like a normal player. Like no, just take a stand where there's uncertainty about things like that. Just take a stand either way
Mhm.
and just stand with it. So
Man, it's like this is one thing. So I mentioned this about taking like an early Laporta or something, and I miss out on George Kittle around past ADP. Like Kyler Murray around past ADP is pretty great, especially in this. Like talk about getting a possible elite quarterback a little bit later than everyone else.
I think I have the worst take here that I was thinking about taking. Let me see. I was thinking actually the whole time to take Raheem Mostert in the
Mhm.
sense of just playing the anti Achane there, right? Like, but I already had three running backs. I don't think I can go four running backs this early. Um, just help building that, especially like again, we're talking about Rashi Rice, where he's going to come back eventually. He's going to take up some of Worthy's market target share at some point in the season, and so it's like I need. So it's really like I have 1.75 wide receivers instead of two. So I needed to get at least a third wide receiver on my team for that.
I feel you. Yep. And like in this format versus BBM, are you going to stop at 4 running backs or still try to build out 5?
I think it all depends. If I mess up or decide to go zero running back super late, maybe I'll go five. If I'm going, five wide receivers, the first 5 rounds, something like that, and I have just a completely sick lineup, but my running backs are terrible, and I just need to get as much variance to go my way as possible. Maybe I'll take a fifth one, but I would probably put a hard cap at 4.
Okay. Okay. And then how much are you considering like for your last running back if he's a starter or if he's more of a zero RB guy like Marshawn Lloyd or Ty Chandler?
For the fourth one, I would say he's either got to have some playing time or he's got to have some type of work. I think if
Okay.
you just draft someone hoping that maybe the starter gets injured and he comes and plays, then that's really just reaching for the stars.
Okay. Okay.
Now you could do that for your fifth one if there's a guy you're like, man, this dude is just super talented. I love him, but he's just going to get no run. But if he does get run, he's just going to absolutely smash week in and week out. Then I don't mind taking him as the fifth one.
Do you have a guy like that in mind when you said that?
I don't actually.
I don't, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
Well, the first person that came to mind was Chris Rodriguez, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Like I don't know what the path is, but like you see someone like Cordell Patterson who we've seen how much he can be done during spike weeks. He's had like the greatest fantasy points per carry ever last season. So someone like that, if he gets into work, I could see taking your last pick on someone like him. Um, yeah,
Someone like him, not
like him,
necessarily him.
not
Yeah.
necessarily him. Yeah,
Yeah.
someone like him.
Yeah. Saw like reports about he's going to take away some of Justin Fields' kick return responsibilities. Man, kills me.
I know. I thought of you when I saw the Madden trailer, and they said Justin Fields returning kicks. It's like, all right.
It's going to be a very painful season for me if that is so. I mean, talk
Yeah,
about
so
the power of hitting on a Justin Fields in this contest, dude. Imagine Russell Wilson pulls an Aaron Rodgers and Justin Fields starts for 17 weeks or 16 weeks, I guess.
yeah,
Like,
that would be nuts there.
That would be the most powerful pick in this contest, even though he's a quarterback. Some Dallas Goddard action.
Yeah, I'll wait till you're done with your pick. And I'll ask you a question.
I was going to pick Dallas Goddard.
Okay.
Just snipe my tight end.
There we go.
He is a guy I've been trying to take a little bit more of, though, because I usually just take a running back in this range.
Yeah, I was thinking that, but then I looked at other tight ends, and with the ADP, we're looking at the next tier of tight ends, and it's like, let me at least get a second decent one before I have to start reaching for other ones. If that makes sense.
So no love for this. I consider this a pretty clear tier with Freiermuth, Schultz, and Komet.
Yeah, it's like, do I want to take Goddard at his ADP or wait another 30 rounds or 30 picks for the next group? I figured let's just go Goddard. It's a guy I like, and so we'll just go with that. Maybe one of those three fall to me. Maybe they don't. Maybe I just keep two, but I think it leaves the options a little bit more open than if I didn't draft them. Then I would be saying I need to draft one of these next three, regardless of if I have to reach or not.
Okay, nice. Yeah, this is like another range I want. So what I want more of is kind of like what you just said with Kyle Pitts. Like if I have an elite tight end, I want to grab more of these guys as my second tight end because I don't think I'm doing that enough. I'm having a lot of builds where they're my first tight end, and then I grab two other weak ones. But like if Dalton Schultz is my tight end too, I should be pretty good. Curtis Samuel around past ADP. I do not like Curtis Samuel. Not at pick 102 anyway. Josh Palmer. There's no way he's worth this price tag, right?
No chance. I was thinking if Palmer comes to me, there's no chance.
There's no chance.
I mean, Palmer, he's just terrible. Like I don't know how much to say it other than just like he sucks. And there's going to be guys like that where it's just like this guy just sucks. And regardless if you think that or like if that's actually true or not, it's just like he sucks. I don't want him whatsoever. I say that as let's do it. Let's get Mitchell. I don't think I've had much of him any, so let's do that.
I felt like I was taking Josh Downs almost every time instead of Mitchell. I've had to consciously start taking Mitchell a little bit more.
Yeah. I don't know if I like that with Pittman and no Richardson, but we'll take it.
There was something.
Go
ahead.
I would say, are there any guys like that for you where it's just like, I think Josh Palmer sucks. If he falls to round 15, I'm still probably not taking him. Is there any guys like that you're just like, you're just refusing to take?
Ladd McConkey and Jameson Williams. Yeah, and I know I've taken Ladd McConkey. Like I've clicked on his name. I'm 550 drafts in. I have 8% of Ladd McConkey. I don't think I have 8% of Jameson Williams. I think I have 0 across all sites.
I'm glad that I didn't pick any of those guys. Because if you're gonna be like, it's Najee Harris, and be like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's actually Xavier Worthy, Lockett, Patrick Mahomes. No. There's so Spike Week has a cool feature where it shows like the draft board, like Underdog would be, but then it shows you where your exposures are heavy, where your exposures are light. So I can easily see pockets of the draft that maybe I'm overdrafting this guy, I'm ignoring the other guy, and there were a few 0% in there that kind of surprised me. Let me pull that up, but I'll pose the same question to you.
So Palmer, obviously, that's the biggest one for me that speaks off that is really there for me. Surprisingly, one that I'm not taking a lot of, and I only say that because it just popped up on there, but Tua, I don't really have much Tua. For just the way that I'm building my draft so far, nothing's really popping up to where I need to take him. So I'm kind of just maybe 1-2% of him or so. I I don't know if that's a bad take or not, but it's the take that I have. I'm glad Chupa took him. That I don't have to worry about that.
I was gonna say that might be the one quarterback that I will just never take unstacked if I don't have Waddle or Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Unless I don't know. Actually, I take that back. I think I did that once, but he fell like actually 40 picks past ADP, and at that point, I think I took. Is it Malik Washington, the rookie receiver over there?
Yeah.
But it's like him because I was doing that with Joe Burrow a little bit. If I didn't have T. Higgins or Jamar Chase, never take him. But he's falling so far. Like, how am I passing up on him now? I can still take one of the rookies towards the end, and then Mike Gesicki, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Mike Gesicki. Yeah, I was heavy on him last season. Didn't really work out too well, but
Same. We'll try it again.
exactly.
Looking at my draft board and like I have 2% JT. This is just in a Underdog best ball, 129 teams. 2% JT, 3% Drake London, 2% Saquon, only 2% A Chain. That's one that's surprising. But yeah, 0% Ladd, 0% Jameson, 2% Blake Corum, 0% Nick Chubb, 0% Hawkinson,
Okay.
and then a bunch of zeros after that. But those are like the guys who are getting drafted in every draft that I have 0% of.
That's true. Yeah. Let's see here. All right. So got quite a bit here. Quite a bit of options.
Went with Brandon Cooks. I was looking at him.
Yeah, that kind of. I think that gives me a solid enough core for me that now any position is up to the grabs. Feel safe with 5 wide receivers there. I want to go 6, 8, whatever, however I want to figure that out. But I think with at least got to get 5 from me with this current build.
There was something about Brandon Cooks being kind of like a sneaky good spike week guy, especially I think maybe it was like the last 5 or 6 weeks of the season.
Okay.
And so it's gotten me to that alone has gotten me to click on him a bit. I wasn't really clicking on him. He was one of my favorite receivers in the league for like the whole time he's been in the league.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I don't not like him. Let's see. Now, let me actually pose this question to you. So, like for example, Josh Downs still available for me in a format like this where you don't want to cannibalize yourself too much. We already had, or I already have 1, 2, 3, yeah, 3 indie players. Does it make sense without their quarterback to even take a fourth one?
Here, I probably wouldn't. No.
Yeah.
No, if you didn't take AD Mitchell, then yeah, I'd be perfectly fine doing that. But
Yeah.
I think especially since 2 of them were pretty early, you just kind of need those 2 to smash and AD Mitchell to, be at least Tyler Lockett.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, man, it's like tough. If I don't take a running back, I'm going to be kind of screwed. But I don't know how I pass up on this guy here at ADP. Been looking at Jerry Jeudy a little bit closer recently because he feels like a player who could smash ADP, and it's like, yeah, of course he did. Why wouldn't he? But he could also fail pretty hard.
I like Jeudy. He's always a good guy. He's actually one of the profile pictures of some of the group chats that I'm in. But yeah, this actually, I can actually justify this take that I'm just doing now. And Kirk Cousins. I have 2 Atlanta players. Looking at the other quarterbacks, I don't know entirely how the situation is going to pan out with Pittsburgh, just some of the other teams that I have. No other real quarterbacks available that I really do like. So went with Cousins, rounded off with Bijan and Kyle Pitts. No more QBs for me, probably. Unless I draft Justin Fields at 18.
That's what I was just wondering, like how powerful, because I just mentioned if Justin Fields hits, like he's going to be a really powerful pick, but like, is it still pretty powerful even if we already have elite quarterbacks?
I don't know. And also, but then also, I'll throw the question back to you. Like, how does Fields become successful? Is it because he gets goal line work? Is it because the starter gets hurt and he comes in and just plays a starting quarterback? What's your thought on? Because if it's just, oh, he splits he gets 25% of the goal line work, and that's how we're going to succeed. Well, I got Najee. That's going to hurt Najee as well. So I wouldn't want to do that. I want to focus on Najee getting all the stuff. So,
Right.
um,
Right.
so if I didn't have Najee, maybe I get it. I see, but I wouldn't take Fields for me in this build because I don't want to cannibalize the running back.
I mean, I see a couple paths to Fields paying off. I mean, the most obvious is something happens to Russell Wilson. Either he gets hurt or he plays poorly. But I kind of under the impression that Russell has a really long leash and that he can play really, really bad before
For a long
he
time.
might get benched, right?
Yeah.
Or he's kind of in that Taysom Hill role where he'll play snaps most games. Some games he'll go off for a couple touchdowns. Some games he'll do nothing. But unlike Taysom Hill, like Taysom Hill's never going to start for Derek Carr if Derek Carr gets hurt, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I do expect Justin Fields to start for the Steelers if something happens to Russell Wilson. So I think that there are a couple paths to getting some production. Justin Fields is not a zero. I don't think he's a zero, even if he never starts a game. I don't know how useful he'll be for DFS purposes if he doesn't start. Because like even in the Taysom Hill role, I mean, what are we hoping for? A couple 20-point spike weeks?
Let's hope so, right?
Yeah, I mean, if he scores 20 points twice this season and I get him into 18th round in this contest specifically, I'm going to be pretty thrilled about that.
Oh, yeah, you're going to be cleaning up. So this is actually a guy that I've always liked for a while, for years. Just Adam Thielen doesn't conflict with any bye weeks. I don't really like the running backs that are up here in the current slot, so went with Thielen just to get some points on the board during bye weeks and stuff like that. I like him.
I think Thielen is one of the best late round picks for a team like yours, where you only went with one receiver in the first 5 rounds.
Yeah.
And then like tack on maybe a couple of those cheap rookies like Burton or Poke or whatever, and let Adam Thielen have that run he had at the beginning of last season. Let that happen again while the rookies, get comfortable, and by the end of the season, you're all good.
Exactly. Yeah. It's kind of funny. As I'm looking at my lineup in between each of the picks, it's just like nothing about this lineup that I currently have screams like this is going to win a lot of things. But I see it in the sense of like, yeah, obviously it could. It definitely tells the story, but it's just like it's a solid floor team that maybe for me in a contest like this, if you can just get if all your guys can get all of their floors and then you just have one or two hit their spike week each week, and all these are explosive guys, they could get a spike week. Then that's kind of I don't know. I think I'm just rambling on thoughts in between picks, but I like the team so far.
Well, what I was going to say was like reviewing those top 10 teams from the regular season last year. If you showed me that team and asked me how I think it did, I would not have guessed that it won ever. Ever, dude. So you'd be surprised, man. Most of the top teams, I really didn't think they were that good, and a lot of them bricked on an early pick. But they, like I said, Kyron, Laporta, McBride, guys like that were just so powerful that you could brick a couple early picks as long as you get the right combo in rounds 1 and 2.
Absolutely, yeah.
A lot of CD Lamb, obviously.
This is a terrible pick, but I'm kind of low on time.
No, it's good.
Tight end. You say that as like, yeah, that's good. I actually wanted Khalil Herbert instead.
Did you want Khalil Herbert?
No. I was just I know it's the first name that popped up.
Oh, I want Khalil Herbert with my next pick. Yeah, Ben Sinnott. When Chris was kind of hyping him up when we first started streaming the drafts, I took him so much. I was so overweight that I had to stop taking him completely. And so maybe I can get back on that train again.
Yeah, it's always weird. You get these vibes of just like you're in a group, you're doing things. For whatever reason, you like a guy, you start picking him a lot, and then you look back like, oh, wait, hold on, let me just redo that. And you like another guy around this range. You're like, oh my God, now I got to get another guy in. And it's like never ending. It's just always changing.
Well, on the last stream, Eric Polzian was in the chat, and he asked if there was anyone I thought I had a bunch of, but when I reviewed my exposures, I was like very underweight, and I don't think I had an answer for him then. But now I went back and looked, and it was James Conner and Kenneth Walker, And I was so under on them before that in the puppy 2, they're two of my highest drafted running backs because I was trying to even it out. But I went so overweight that I'm over. I'm over the 8% average with
Oh wow.
only doing 70 drafts more. So I was taking them a ton.
Mm, interesting. Okay. Nice.
Do you have a player like that you feel like you like, but you go and you look and you don't have that high of a exposure to them?
I would have to go back and look. Let me see. You know what? The thing that I actually think on that, I think most of the Bengals players, not just from a fan perspective, but I do think that that is an explosive offense that can score a lot of points and have multiple spike weeks. Just the way that my builds have been going with drafts, I haven't really gotten much. Got I have very little Jamar Chase, very little T Higgins, uh, very little of the whole running back room. Really have very little of that whole team. Uh, so maybe I need to just start forcing some of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean the easiest way is to grab like Jermaine Burton late, or
Yeah.
I don't remember who the other rookie is, but it's interesting. Because one question I'm gonna ask you every single time we do a stream together for an update on how you feel about Chase Brown versus Zach Moss.
Give me
I'll let you
Zach
make your
Moss
pick
all day.
first. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Good. That's the answer I want to hear every time.
Who do I go here? Let's go. You know what? You said you want him. I called his name out. Let's do him. Khalil Herbert. There we go. Didn't mean to
Disappoint.
do it to you. Didn't mean to do it to you, man. But I didn't really like anything else going around.
All right. Well, that's all right because now you allowed me to take the pick that's actually going to be the league winner here in this contest. It's interesting trying to, because this pick is kind of significant. Like, if I take a running back here, I'm done at 6. Do I take a eighth receiver and then I only have 2 quarterbacks and 2 tight ends, with one of them being
Yeah.
Dalton Schultz? Or do I go 3 tight ends and be done at receiver and just take a second quarterback? But keep in mind, one of my receivers is Rashee Rice. So it's like, I have to make some decisions here.
Yeah, definitely some interesting decisions there. What do you think about something like this, right? Like this might be, I have two quarterbacks here. I'm leaning towards no. Bryce Young's coming up. I did draft Adam Thielen. I am high on Thielen. What's your thought of if you're having just a third quarterback? Do you think you have to pair him with one of the guys that you have already drafted, or could you take just a third quarterback?
I'm more willing to take the third guy naked, but
Okay.
a lot of the time I have a Saint, I have a Panther, I have a guy on New England, and so or Minnesota. So it's just usually one of these quarterbacks is available at the end that I can still find a stack partner, but I'm okay doing it without.
Okay. And gotta say, Ray Davis here, 20 picks behind ADP. Is that some guy that you're? Is that someone that you're looking at?
I think I have 0%. Yeah, I don't remember. Like maybe I have 1%, but and it's not because I looked at him and thought he wasn't going to be good. I don't know anything about him. I just
Yeah.
rather take like everyone around him, I guess.
Mhm. That's
Should
fair.
I be taking a closer look at him?
He just has a cool name. I think I don't
Ray
really know much
Davis.
about him either. Ray Davis. It just sounds like a cool guy who he's coming in at halftime to play the concert, not actually play the football game. So,
It's
uh,
kind of it's kind of weird because I was so low on James Cook last year, and I don't think I'm high on him now. So I should be interested in Ray Davis, right?
I think so. Yeah. Let's see. So when in doubt, go correlation, right? So for my fifth and final running back, went with CEH, someone
Nice.
who you know has a path. I think we've seen what he could do, and so if he does get that starting role, then we do have the correlation there to get there.
Yeah, I like it. That's something that I did a couple times when I had no receivers with Mahomes. It
Yeah.
feels good to get something. It's like Pacheco is healthy. What if he's not? I'm sure everyone has such a negative view of CEH at this point, right? That's why he's going so late, and he's like the backup on the best offense in the NFL.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. But again, it's one of those things where, like, he could have a spike week. He's on an explosive team. Maybe I'm just talking myself into it.
I'm fine with it. No, because it's like at a certain point, it might be now actually, after Elijah Mitchell, him, and like Braylon Allen, I'm okay taking if I have to. Like Roshan Johnson, Deontay Foreman, if I really need a running back, Alexander Madison and Dylan Laub. But like, let's say those guys were all gone, and if this is a 20 round draft, they would be.
Yeah.
There's no one that I feel comfortable clicking on at all that I have any confidence will score fantasy points this season. At least
Definitely.
those guys, like I think there's a path for sure.
That's true. Yeah. As we're waiting for our next pick, I am checking some other stuff. And yeah, again, for people on Underdog, they do have the more or less the champions play up to 6 times. And you can use the promo code Occupy2 to get 2 extra first deposit. I was just checking mine. Not all dead yet, so that's a good thing.
Dude, they've been throwing out promos almost every day.
Yeah.
I've been trying to hit them, and what happened? Yeah, I took a bad beat yesterday.
I gotta say,
Go ahead.
I gotta say, from a product standpoint, it's not the best, but I am loving the amount of exposure that WNBA is getting. It is so nice to just be like, oh, there's a random the scheduling guy or woman, whoever does the scheduling for WNBA is great because they'll be like, here's a random 1 p.m. game. Perfect. I'm taking lunch at work and I'm going to be betting on some WNBA. Throw a little, 3-team pick or anything like that, and let's do some rooting while we got other stuff to do. So I'm glad that WNBA is starting to get as popular as it is. I don't know if you've been playing much or not, but it's definitely exciting for me.
I've been playing WNBA every day. Yeah, and it's so funny because I won't check to see like and make sure that there was like a 9 a.m. game during the week last week or something. Like I just completely missed it because I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's one thing I don't like. I'm gonna ask you another question after we make our picks here. And these picks are important, man. Like talking about we're competing against 100,000 other teams in the marathon. Like you
Yeah.
get one guy that separates you, even if every other pick was the same as someone else. Like it's pretty huge.
I think I have a round 18 pick that you'll like.
That I'll like or I'll love.
I think you'll like it. I don't think you'll love it.
I'm just gonna go for it here. I don't know about this because I don't like Derek Carr. If he has a good game, Jalen Hurts' floor game is still higher than that, and so I don't know what to do for backup quarterback here. And it's kind of even more iffy with Jalen Hurts because his bye week is 5, and if I take 0 quarterback points that week and I'm like minus 20 points, that could be the
Yeah.
difference between first and fifth.
That is true. Yeah.
I went for it though. I didn't know who else to pick, and I was running out of time. Were you about to talk about something, or
No, you said you were going to ask me something. We were talking about
Oh,
WNBA.
oh yeah, you got League Pass? You got WNBA League Pass?
I do not know. Do I? Should I be getting League Pass? I thought the
No,
season's
you
over.
shouldn't because for WNBA.
Oh, no. I don't.
Yeah, no, I got it, and it's like half the games I want to watch are blacked out anyway.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's like some of them air on some obscure sports network that like I get ESPN in my cable. I have regular cable in my house. We get ESPN, but I don't get whatever obscure sports channel these WNBA games are on, and it blocks me from watching them on WA League Pass. And so I'm still okay. Like I still have it because there's games here and there I can watch, but just kind of disappointing. I've been watching WNBA every day though. Never thought I would have said that's how my summer was going.
Yeah, I know there's a lot on Prime Video.
Yeah, yesterday.
And then they have like for the Mystics games, it's Monumental TV or something like that. Some obscure thing that we have that we can watch. We can watch the Mystics game and stuff like that. But the other ones can't really do so much.
Okay. Yeah, like Sparks are definitely blacked out for me here, but I'm pretty sure I get the channel. So I don't watch Sparks though. I watch the New York Liberty and I watch the Fever.
Okay, nice. So I talked about how I was pretty low on Cincinnati, and this is a guy that we've seen catch a touchdown pass before, which isn't the greatest endorsement of a pick, but
It's good enough for me.
but it's good enough for me in the sense that when you're drafting your ninth, one, two, three, four, five, six, eighth wide receiver, you can justify it by saying he can run routes and catch touchdown passes. I like it on an explosive offense.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the guys that's mixed into my last round picks.
Nice. See,
Uh,
I told you you'll like it. You may not love it, but you'll like it.
I like. I mean, I have 8% of him. That's not zero, so I like it.
Okay.
And I love your reasoning. He's caught a touchdown, and I love saying that about guys. Like this guy's going to have a touchdown this season.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I just hope it's during one of the bye weeks that I have multiple bye week players. Like, do it week, do it like week 14 when Indy's on a bye, and so he can be in like the flex spot or something like that. That'd be
uh,
nice.
that would be pretty good. And with my last pick, I went with Calvin Austin the third. Kind of been taking him a bunch lately.
Okay,
Who's the other? Roman Wilson. I was taking a bit, but do we know Roman Wilson's good? I think he's probably good.
I think
But
it's pretty decent. Yeah.
I have been tacking on Calvin Austin, especially in Justin Fields teams, and
Okay.
so yeah, just another late round option because I'm overweight on all my late round options, and I don't want to be. Like I had like 15% Khalif Raymond. That seems like a little bit too much. Like 12% DJ Shark. Like if I'm with the field on late round picks, not getting drafted every time, I'm okay with that.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Let's see here. So I think we're all done. We're on the last pick, just waiting for some guy on the clock. In the meantime, I did throw up the draft board so we can get a look at things. So overall, tell me about your team, kind of the process that you did, and do you like it?
I think I like this team. Yeah, like a couple guys I don't take that out. I guess Curtis Samuel is like the ugly spot for me, but I like every single other player. Maybe I wish I had a real second quarterback.
Yeah.
But I mean, like these are like the guys I'm pretty heavy on right now. Kyron Williams at ADP, James Conner, Devin Singletary, Marshawn Lloyd, Jaleel McLaughlin. Like,
Mm.
and then these receivers aren't my favorite, but I'm very happy to click on them at ADP.
Yeah, it's not like they're solid wide receivers that it's going to be hard to get them at value, but they are good wide receivers at the end of the day.
And break down your squad for me.
So one of the very few running back earlies that I went with, and so I just said, you know what, let's just take Bijan, JT. They're not having the same bye week, so nothing to worry about that or whatever. And so it's just do that, then just worry about getting a core. I've got an elite. I got a correlated wide receiver, an elite quarterback, and a pretty decent tight end. All that's kind of correlated. Then I kind of just matched around with it. Let's just make not one position too good and not one position too bad. It's kind of tiptoed around different things. Do I wish I had a better second quarterback, just like you said? Yes. I feel like Kirk Cousins has a very short leash, so hopefully he doesn't get benched. But I went with players towards the end that are explosive, and we know that what they could do. They have skills, and so kind of just took some dart throws toward the end there too.
Yeah, I mean these are all players I like. Good mix of vets and rooks. Looking at
Yeah.
like Zay Jones, Thielen, Cooks, Lockett, all old. They're all younger than us. But yeah, this was a good one, man. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully, you guys caught our strategy discussion before the draft started at the beginning. Definitely go back and rewatch that if you didn't. I think the draft started at about 28 minutes into this video.
Yeah,
Um,
something like that. Yeah.
but that was a pretty good one. Let us know if you guys want us to do more of like the other format tournaments, like the marathon or the sprint, weekly winners, whatever, and we'll get that to you. Moose, any last comments?
Yeah, just to piggyback off that, don't tell us to do the like 1K ones or like the big dogs. We're not doing those on stream.
If you guys bankroll it, we will. And so just in your YouTube comment, I think you can do the super chat, whatever. So let us know, and we'll do that for you. And I'll just answer this question, Benjamin May. Any worries about Taylor being tied to a Russian QB? I'll actually let you answer that one.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have some worry there, but the fact that I kind of negated that by not even drafting him, So it's kind of like I'm playing on both. So that's why I'm also not going too much JT early. So I'm kind of down on him, but he is that early for a reason. We've seen what he can do. So am I worried? Yes. But am I still taking him? Yes, but less than what I should than what other people are.
Okay, nice. And I believe I'm doing a stream tomorrow with Derek. I don't know what time yet, but we will be
Okay.
back a couple more times this week. Appreciate anyone that tuned in, and we'll see you later.